Hello, everyone. Welcome back to your Best Self podcast, the podcast where we're covering all the topics on how to become your best self. I'm your host, Andriana, and let's dive into today's episode. Today, we're going to discuss a foundational topic for becoming your best self, the topic of self love and how to do it properly in order to unconditionally love yourself. This is a big and hard earned task, especially in today's society where we're bombarded left and right with videos and photos of pretty and gorgeous girls living their best aesthetic and fabulous and luxurious, spoiled, girly lives. And that just leaves you with the feeling of, oh well, I don't really love my life and who I am right now. And unfortunately, we live in a generation of comparison brought to you by social media. But at last, girls, let me tell you about it. It doesn't have to be this way. You can say a girl is gorgeous without hating on your life and actually just being happy for her and be like, oh, good for her, but I actually love me and my life. Self-acceptance, self-love, self-compassion are topics that are definitely not talked enough, I feel. When you go on YouTube, you'll find girl after girl saying how to be magnetic, how to be confident, how to be that girl and all of that, which no hate, of course. We love that. More power to us because a lot of girls need advice on how to do that. But I still feel like they can be misleading in some extent because they don't actually create a solid foundation of self-love for the person that is listening, but they're just giving them fast patches to cover a much deeper problem, which is the problem of lack of self-love. There are actually some people nowadays who keep talking about how you should love yourself, you should find self-love, put yourself first, but no one actually tells you how to do it. And the ones that do, they don't explain how to do it right. Most of them, they tell you self-love is a bubble bath with some candles, putting on a mask and calling it a day. But self-love goes way deeper than that. Love yourself is so important and still so many people neglect it because they don't realize that we're talking about the longest and most important relationship you're going to have in your life. And that's the relationship that's going to make you the happiest and the most fulfilled. And obviously, that's the relationship with yourself. So you constantly complain, people don't prioritize me. They give me the bare minimum. They don't love me. They don't respect me. They don't show up for me. But you have to firstly question yourself. Do you even love yourself? Do you respect yourself? Do you show up for yourself? If you don't, then you can't expect anyone around you to start doing it for you. Everything outside of you, every relationship you have, and every interaction is a mirror. It's merely a reflection of precisely what you believe. And that's how life is. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you believe in. The truth is, you find it so hard to love yourself and struggle to build a good relationship with yourself because inside of you, you have cultivated a negative self-image about yourself. Imagine how hard it is to love something that until now you're in the habit of hating or disliking. You might dislike your body, you might dislike your face, you might dislike your appearance, or you might dislike your personality or your capabilities. You're constantly self-critical. You're judging every little thing about you. And so inevitably, you've built a relationship of self-loathing rather than self-love. But you see, even though you deep down believe you're not worthy of love, you still hold this small hope or expectation that the world might come and show you that you are lovable and is going to show you that you are deserving and worth it. And so you sit and you wait for a change. You sit and you wait for anyone, just anyone, to come from the outside world and tell you, hey, I love you. Thinking that when this happens, then you will see how worthy of love you are and how lovable you are, and then you will decide to love yourself too. You do all of this thinking subconsciously, of course, because if you did it consciously, then you will be able to hear how crazy this is. Stop waiting for the outside world to come and fill you up with all the love you don't have for yourself. And the reason for this is, firstly, it will never be enough, and secondly, it's unreliable. It's not in your control when you or where you are gonna get it, but you know what's reliable? Having a good relationship of love with yourself, so you could give yourself all the love you need whenever or wherever you are, irrespective of anyone around you. This is a journey that I also haven't figured out completely, and that's precisely why they call it a journey. You don't wake up one day and you love yourself. You don't snap your fingers and you love you. It's exactly the same as with any other relationship. I mean, you don't just go on a date with someone and in some hours you are in love with them. You have to build that love. You have to build that love day after day. It's this continuous commitment and loyalty to show up for that person again and again, no matter how many times you get in a fight with them. And the more years you get to love someone, the stronger is your bond with that person, because you got to love them through thick and thin. And so it's the same with yourself. It's an active commitment to love yourself, even when you are in a fight with yourself, even when you don't like yourself that much at that moment, and even when you feel angry towards you. It's all about making a decision to stay loyal towards yourself and loyal towards loving yourself no matter what. Saying that you're going to stay on that journey as long as it takes. Prioritizing self-love and putting yourself first is a big commitment. And a lot of people don't even dare to make it because they are afraid. They are afraid that this will mean that they're selfish and that they're not going to be able to think and love anyone else as much. But the irony is that if you never truly and wholly love yourself, you will never be able to love anyone else right and wholly either. Your love will be half because it's conditional. You give that love because you want it and you need it back in order to feel some love too. It's simply transactional love, but when you love yourself unconditionally, you are able to put so much love in your relationships because you know, I already love myself so much. I can give so much love and more, and I will never expect it back because I'm already so full of this love. But trust me, regardless, you will get that love back too, because a person that radiates self-love is like a magnet. When you love yourself so much and you prioritize you, people around you inevitably feel a tremendous compulsion in loving and prioritizing you too. All right, but how do we even start loving ourselves? Well, first of all, realize that this is a journey everyone has to go through. Everyone. It's an active choice that you have to make because no one is born with it. It's not automatic for anyone, no matter how much you think you're the only person on this planet that doesn't have this self-love coming to you straight away. It's a lesson that everyone has to go through. Some people just pass it faster, and some people just need to retake the exam again and again until they figure out the right answer and until they learn their lesson and pass it. No matter what is left up to you, it's your responsibility to figure out how to love yourself. So I'm here to give you some tips on what I did that worked for me. You see, love is a verb. It's something that you need to actively do again and again. You don't do this thing once and you're done. You need to feed yourself love all the time. You need to continue doing sweet things for yourself, exactly like any other relationship that you take seriously in your life. So, after you decide to make this active commitment towards yourself, then it's time to get to know who is this person you're going to love. So, you need to meet yourself in some extent. Some do this through talking to themselves, some do it through filming themselves, or getting a journal. Personally, I was always a diary girl. I love writing down my thoughts because it feels so cathartic to me. So I decided to start journaling and getting to discover and put down into paper what was going on inside of my head. So journaling is basically you get all of the chaotic mess that's in your head and you put it down on paper, and from there you are able to become an observer. And it's crazy the amount of times I started journaling my thoughts and my feelings that they just left me in shock because I was just realizing what was going on in my mind and what was the root cause of my problem. Everything was becoming so clear to me when I was putting it down on words and on paper. And there were so many times when that happened. And of course, it's not easy and comfortable to sit down and introspect and reflect on what's going on in your mind. And that task can feel heavy and exhausting most of the times. I'm not gonna lie to you, but the feeling of release you feel after is so good that it makes you feel 10 times lighter, and you're basically saying that was definitely worth it. I relate it to the feeling of going to the gym. You dread doing it and getting yourself there, but you know you have to because it's good for you and it keeps you healthy and so on. So you get yourself through it, but at the end of your workout, you get the most amazing hit of endorphins and happy hormones that make you feel amazing and lighter. And that's exactly the same with journaling. You never go and work out and feel after like I regret going there. You always feel like I'm so glad I did it. I feel so much better after. And so it's the same with journaling. And so through journaling, you get to explore a lot of your thoughts and emotions. And through them, you understand what are a lot of your opinions and beliefs about yourself. So you can spot your limitations and why you're acting that way. And once you directly see those limiting beliefs about you that make you take certain decisions, you are able to challenge them and flip them around. So basically find their like opposite. So for me, the way to do this is to take a journal and on a page write these 5 points. Firstly, feeling, then event, thirdly, what I believe, fourth, action results from this belief, and fifth, the truth. So an example journal entry will go like the following. Firstly, feeling. I felt self-conscious today. Okay, just a sentence. Second, the event. What happened that caused that way? So basically, I didn't like the way I was looking when I wore that outfit. Thirdly, you go to the belief. Why you believe that way? I believe I felt bad about myself not looking good because when I'm not looking good, I feel that I'm unworthy and not deserving of love. What are my actions of this belief? So I negative self-talk, I give myself self-criticism, and so on. What is the truth? In this section, you're able to challenge the belief and flip it around. You can say, hey, this is not as true as I let myself think it is. Maybe I used to think and see myself in that way, but this is not true anymore. Now I only see, for example, the beautiful things on me, which are actually so much more. So you get to flip the past narrative you attached yourself so much on, and you adjust it to the present, because we carry those beliefs that we had when we were 12 years old, when we are here 25 years old, and we're still carrying them with them and we still believe them. And by challenging and reframing these limiting beliefs, you now get to build a new neural pathway that reinforces positive self-perception. So basically your new self-perception as a 25-year-old. And I know half of people listening want to actually sit and do this exercise, and that's because you're just too lazy to put in the effort. Your focus, that means that your focus is still outwards. You're willing to put all of your attention on the external world, on the outside people and circumstances, but you still won't take the time to shift that attention inwards. The thing is, guys, it might not be comfortable and easy, but it's going to be worth it. So at least go and test it out. You can't keep living your life being the person who, if they ask, tell me 3 things that you like about yourself, you have no idea how to answer that, because you either don't love yourself enough to allow you to feel proud for yourself, or you just simply don't know yourself enough. And honestly, both are tragic. So go and test it out. If you can't do it daily, do it weekly or monthly, but at least do it. One day you can go introspection mode, pulling out the beliefs, and the other day you can sit and reflect on them and decide to challenge them. I mean, it's your choice to continue believing so low of yourself once you discover and you become aware of those beliefs that basically tell you you are undeserving of love. We need to tell ourselves, sit down with ourselves and tell ourselves, no, actually, I am like this and this. I have these amazing qualities. People love these things about me. I have these things. I love these things about me. I bring so much value in these places. And also make space for the things about yourself that you don't like. So, all right, I'm not really a big fan of this quality of mine, of this habit of mine, of this characteristic, of this way I treat people, these insecurities about myself. And this is a part that a lot of people skip because it feels even more uncomfortable to admit that they're not perfect and that they have things to improve about themselves. But trust me, knowing yourself inside out means that you know your black and your white, your bright side and your shadow side. And everyone has both, so it's not a big deal. We have to embrace and accept that. And knowing that everyone has both, your responsibility is to know yours. And you know the best thing about knowing yourself completely. Firstly, no one can come and tell you who you are anymore. People go and say stuff about you. You say, oh, well, I actually know I'm not like this. You become unfazed by whatever anyone says about you because you know you inside and out. And that person, whatever they see in you that they go and judge, is something that they actually hate about themselves, and so they just sit and project it onto you. So you just let them. You know who you are, so you just let them yap. The second best thing about knowing yourself completely is that you don't let people that bring up your insecurities to trigger you and to make you feel angry or miserable. You actually think, hey, I already know this about myself and I'm working on it. So it's like you instantly disarm them with whatever they're holding against you. I actually have some journal prompts that I found on Pinterest, and I feel like they helped me the most. And I use them for a weekly journal entry. I will leave this behind in the show notes, but I will also give some comments now on how to approach these so you can know how to answer them. The first journal prompt is I love myself because. This journal prompt forces you to think of some reasons why you love yourself. And this is important in building your self-love. And even if you can't come up with something, you can start with something simple, like I like my smile, or even make it up. You just need to get into the habit of doing this until someday you don't need to make it up. You will actually have so many things you will love about you to add because you make this habit, and they will come to you easily. The second journal prompt is to write an empowering affirmation. So, for example, I have amazing and supportive friends because me myself, I am an amazing and supportive friend. These reinforces your positive beliefs about yourself, and you remind yourself that you have a lot of things about yourself to be proud of. The third journal prompt is this week for self-care, I will. This journal prompt forces you to think and commit to some self-care activities that are gonna show love to you, physically, mentally, or emotionally, depending on what you do. It could be simple, like I'm going to take care of my skin every night this week, or go for walks in nature, or journal, or take myself to the gym, allocate time for myself, or make time for friends or loved ones that make me feel energized. You see, before when I mentioned a lot of people say that self-love is a bubble bath, it's an aspect of it, but it's not the whole picture. It's just a small part of the puzzle. But when you say you're gonna do these things as a way to show self-care and you actually go and do them, you show to yourself, hey, look, I promised to myself I'm going to do this for me, and I did it. So I show to myself how important I am to me. Keeping your word is important in proving your commitment to you, just like any other relationship. The fourth journal prompt is this week I challenge myself too. This journal prompt is good to make you think outside of your comfort zone, because when you actually go and do that thing that for some time was holding you back or it felt uncomfortable to do, your self-esteem will elevate. So for example, for a long time I had a lot of social anxiety. So if you told me call someone or go and ask someone a question, I thought, okay, this sounds like hell. I don't remember at which point exactly I started challenging me to get out of my comfort zone, but it soon started to feel like a habit to push me to do something, even though it didn't feel comfortable at all doing it. And now I still have that initial, oh no, I don't want to do this thought. But immediately after, I think I did this so many times, I'm able to handle this. And also you start to care less because you realize that most people don't care. So you might as well do yourself the favor and ask for whatever you want to ask. The fifth journal prompt is the hobby I will make time for is. This journal prompt is good because firstly, it makes you acknowledge what is it that I want to dedicate my time and energy to. But secondly, it helps you make the intention of allocating that time for you and something you enjoy. So these journal prompts are so good for practicing self-love because they don't only let you express yourself, they also get out of you some actionable steps that guide you towards starting to practice it. Beyond that, the biggest benefit of journaling is giving yourself time. It's taking time out of your busy day to prioritize yourself, to connect with yourself. Personally, every morning or every other morning after I wake up, I try to dedicate the first half an hour to myself, to meditate and to journal, and to put myself into alignment with me. And there is no bigger testament of self-love than making time to spend time with just you, because it shows not only that I prioritize myself, but also that, I actually enjoy spending time with me. I love my company. And even when you don't feel great, doing this small act of service for yourself, you're going to feel the appreciation and your energy is definitely going to shift. Showing up for yourself again and again is going to inevitably build a self-love habit. And guess what? Your habits make who you are. If your habits are rooted in self-love, they're gonna fill you with self-love. It's also important to actually not only do the talk, but also walk the talk. It's crucial to say that you love yourself and that you prioritize yourself, but it won't mean much if you don't actually take the actions that show that you do love yourself, that show, hey, I prioritize myself and I'm showing up for me by keep building a better version of myself every day. And also, you learn to accept wholly and unconditionally the self you have now. But this doesn't mean you stop trying to make her better. I'm happy with who I am right now. She achieved a lot of stuff. She's doing way better than where she was last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop improving because I feel content with where I am. I can be content with my now while still creating a better me for the future. If I am the same person I am now in 1 month, I will be disappointed. Where is the progress? Where is the growth? I want to keep winning in life. And in order to do that, I need to keep evolving. I need to keep changing. I need to keep shedding skin. So you need to walk the talk every day, every week, every month, every year, and let yourself continuously evolve. Once you manage to build this amazing relationship with yourself, you're gonna be able to finally get the peace of being your true self without that constant noise of self-judgment and discomfort of being you. One of my favorite quotes that are relevant with this subject is by Eckhart Tolle that says that if you want to learn about not having a mental self-image, watch your dog or your cat. They don't have an opinion about who they are. They just are who they are. And I really love that. So I also want to briefly speak about another important aspect of self-love. And that's how you let other people treat you. Again, this is a direct reflection and mirror of how you think about yourself and how you deserve to be treated. So, do you let people walk all over you? Do you let people disrespect you? Do you let people speak down on you? Do you let people demean you and bring you down? Then guess what these people read when you allow them to do that? They think this person doesn't even respect themselves. Why should I bother respecting them? They will never tell me anything. They allow this to happen, so they basically deserve it. You can say, excuse me? Listen, I would rather you respect me more than you love me. Because loving someone doesn't automatically mean I give you my best behavior and utmost respect. I don't want love if it's not coming with respect. Plus, I will never dare to speak to myself in that way. I don't speak to anyone that way. So what exactly gave you the impression that you can speak to me like this? The people around me speak to me full of love, full of respect and compassion. Do you think I speak to me in any other way? Of course not. But what people don't see and don't realize is that firstly, I started speaking and treating myself that way before I started getting the same level of response from others. There are of course still circumstances where people are going to still try to test you, mostly people that don't even give the decency of respect to themselves. But what you need to do then is to set your boundaries. If this is something you can't tolerate, then don't. Who are they to force you? Set your boundaries right there, and if that person doesn't fix your attitude towards you, then sorry, but it costs too much. If it costs your peace, it costs too much. At the beginning, of course, it's gonna feel uncomfortable and maybe awkward to put those limits onto others, but you know why you should do that? These people didn't even care to disrespect you. Why should you care if you put them back in their place, if that means respecting you? You can't control other people's actions, but that doesn't mean you are powerless in doing anything about it. Your power is always in your response. Sometimes it's more powerful to say nothing, sometimes it's powerful to set your boundaries. And you can have a response in words and actions. You have to go with the mindset that if you can't take my presence seriously enough for you to respect me, then you deserve my absence. So take your power back and say goodbye to any person that treats you that way. Trust me, when you get the power to do that and leave them behind, you are going to be rewarded with the presence of people that truly and completely appreciate, respect, and love you unconditionally, mirroring back to you the love you showed to yourself when you chose to love yourself, no matter what others showed you. You have to understand that God or the universe will continue to send you the same lessons, the same problems, the same people, but with different faces, the same pain, the same patterns, until you learn that the common denominator is the fact that you continue viewing yourself as not worthy of love. Until you can finally stand up and say enough and acknowledge the fact that you deserve more, that you are worth of so much more, and you stand by that and you own it. Until you learn to love yourself, you will always look for the love that mirrors exactly how you feel about yourself. You will always look for less while you deserve so much more. So it starts with yourself. It takes time and it doesn't happen overnight, but little by little, by having patience with yourself, by being kind to yourself, you finally get to a place where you're able to love yourself and appreciate yourself. You deserve all the things you want for yourself, but it starts with you. So learn to love yourself first. Everything you're looking for is already inside of you. If people continue to treat you badly, disrespecting you, crossing your boundaries, after you precisely mention to them once that you don't appreciate being treated that way, then you don't need to say it twice. You better take your sweet bottoms elsewhere and don't even for a second sweat that you missed anything. Because, honey, you just gained something much bigger. You've just gained your self-love. This is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you at the next one.